Welcome to my video update on the development progress for the Steam VR simulation of the 1851 Great Exhibition. For this update, a number of exhibits have been added to the Nave. We start near the west end of the Nave, with the model of Liverpool docks, one end of the display case of which can be seen in the bottom left of this watercolor. The other end of the display case can be seen to the right of this image, which clearly shows one of the 14 elephants upon which the display case was supported. This illustration from the exhibition catalogue shows a plan view of the display case, and the approximate coverage of the model, with the River Mersey and docks along the long front edge, with the extended part at the back reaching as far east as St George's Hall and Lime Street Station. Here is the item within the simulation. The original was described as having a very detailed model of individual buildings, and over 1,500 vessels in the river. Here the base of the model is taken from an 1851 map by John Tallis, and just a few prominent buildings being overlaid. Some of these buildings are almost identical to how they appear today, including St George's Hall and the Town Hall. Conversely, Lime Street Station was quite different to its modern form. Other buildings are long gone. St John's Church used to stand by St George's Hall, on what is now St John's Garden. The site of St George's Church is now occupied by the Victoria Monument, which was constructed in 1902. The Custom House was badly damaged in the Second World War, and was demolished in 1948. To the north of the docks was the Borough Jail, which was closed in 1855. Moving east along the Nave to where it crosses the transept, we come across the first piece of statuary to be added to the simulation, Venus kissing Cupid. A small confession. This is not the actual statue shown at the exhibition. I have been unable to establish the provenance of the original piece. What is here is an alternate interpretation of the same subject, for which a model was available. Continuing our journey eastwards, just the other side of the crystal fountain, is a portrait of Her Majesty Queen Victoria, facing towards the transept. On the reverse side is a portrait of Prince Albert. Moving about 2/3 of the way along the east nave, we encounter this huge enclosure. It is basically a viewing box for Giuseppe Bertini's magnificent painted window, Dante and some of his ideas. Nowadays this can be seen at the Pol di Pezzoli Museum in Milan. Finally, for this update, near the east end of the nave, at the start of the United States section, is The Greek Slave, by American sculptor Hiram Powers. This model was provided by the Smithsonian Institution, in Washington, D.C. The model was created from a miniature of the original shown at the museum, and differs slightly from the original, in that it is missing the chains linking her wrists. The prime version of The Greek Slave, and presumably the one actually exhibited at the Great Exhibition, is now at Raby Castle, near Staindrop in County Durham. It is one of a large number of original, or near-identical copies, of items displayed at the Great Exhibition. I have been compiling a list of statuary at the Great Exhibition, from various sources, including the official catalogue, the panoramas from the Illustrated London News, and various contemporary illustrations, including watercolors and publications such as Tallis's Illustrated History and Description of the Crystal Palace. Google has then proved an invaluable resource tracing the provenance of these exhibits. Unfortunately, some, such as Giuseppe Pierotti's Binding of Mazeppa to a Horse, appear to be lost, or, at least, I have not been able to locate either the original or any facsimile. If you know different, please let me know. However, many still exist, either the originals or a near-identical copy. Some of these are relatively close to me. For example, the statue of the Marquis of Bute, the one actually displayed at the Great Exhibition, is now located in Callaghan Square in Cardiff. This public location should allow easy reproduction using photogrammetry. Other items are either remote, or in less accessible locations. The most remote I have so far located is The Wounded Indian, by Peter Stevenson, which is currently at the Chrysler Museum of Art in Norfolk, Virginia, but, breaking news, in the last few days they have agreed to return it to the Massachusetts Charitable Mechanic Association in Boston, following an ownership dispute. Unfortunately, for anyone wishing to view the piece, or perform photogrammetry on it, it is likely to be unavailable for some time whilst it is returned. Who knows when, or where, it will go on display again. And so, I end this video with an appeal. See the comments section below this video. which includes a link to a list of all the statuary I wish to locate and derive models thereof. Ideally, someone will have already created a 3D model of an item which I can use. Failing that, some kind soul close to the item could perform the photogrammetry, or, at least, obtain the necessary images for me. This is a live list, which will be updated as I identify more of the statuary from the exhibition and their current locations. Watch out for my next video, which will continue to add to the contents of the exhibition.